What's up guys, COOLADUDA here, back again for the first video in a while. Today, if you couldn't tell by the title or thumbnail, we're doing a deck over the Ur-Dragon. And you can probably guess it's Commander, because the only format where the Ur-Dragon is playable is, well, Commander. Even though he's legal in Legacy, he just isn't good there. So, the Ur-Dragon is a 9-cost, 10/10 dragon with Eminence, so as long as he's in the command zone or on the battlefield, your dragons cost 1 less. He has flying, and whenever one or more dragons attacks, draw that many cards. Then you may put a permanent card from your hand onto the battlefield. That ability is so powerful, but we rarely ever actually get to use it. So it's a little depressing to not get to use it that much, but your dragons are always cheaper because he starts off in the command zone. There is an alternate commander that we will talk about later. For now, we're going to start with the colorless dragons. The first one is Ramos Dragon Engine. And I'm talking about casting cost colorless, not color identity. He could be the commander of the deck, but he's not the alternate commander that I recommend. Because he's a good commander in his own deck. This isn't the deck for him. So Ramos Dragon Engine is a 6-cost, 4/4, legendary artifact creature dragon. I'm glad he doesn't have any more titles. He has flying, and whenever you cast a spell, you put a +1/+1 counter on him for each of that spell's colors. Then you can remove 5 +1/+1 counters from him, and then you get Progenitus mana. So 2 mana of any color, that's 10 mana. You can cast the Ur-Dragon, which is a 9-cost off of this. That's always fun. Next, Steel Hellkite. 6-cost, 5/5 flying dragon. You can pay 2 mana to give him +1/+0 until end of turn. You can also pay X and destroy each non-land permanent with converted mana cost X, whose controller was dealt damage by Steel Hellkite this turn. Only activate this ability once per turn. Man, I'm not used to doing this. Yeah, so it's a very good card. Lets you destroy things if you don't have removal in your hand. It's very versatile. It can hit any non-land permanent if it has converted mana cost X, and if you can hit them for damage with Steel Hellkite. Next is the monocolor dragons. We have Scale Overlord. It's 3 double white for a 4/4 flying dragon. Whenever Whenever a dragon you control becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, destroy target non-land permanent that player controls. If they try to remove your dragons or make your dragons unable to block, you can just blow stuff up. It's a very good political move. It's like, you can kill my dragon, but your thing will die. Your thing will die. And if they don't want their thing to die, you're good. And they won't destroy your thing because they're in fear of their thing dying. Next is another white dragon. 3 mana and double white again for a 4/3 this time though with flying. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, you put a +1/+1 counter on Sunscorch Regent and you gain a life. So basically it becomes big, so it becomes a threat, and you gain life. That's always good for keeping yourself alive. Next is Scourge of Valkas. It's 2 mana and then triple red, so 5 mana total for a 4/4 flying dragon. Whenever it or another dragon enters the battlefield under your control, it deals X damage to target creature or player, where X is the number of dragons you control. It also has fire breathing, so you can pay a red and give it +1/+0 until end of turn. Always fun to do damage, right? Tyrant's Familiar. 5 double red, 7 mana for a 5/5 flying haste dragon with Lieutenant. So as long as you control your commander, the Ur-Dragon, it gets +2/+2 and has, whenever it attacks, it will deal 7 damage to target creature defending player controls. So if it's a 7/7, you attack, then you do 7 damage to something. It's never a bad play. Hellkite Charger. 6 mana for a 5/5 flying haste dragon. Whenever it attacks, you may pay 7 mana. If you do, untap all attacking creatures, and there's an additional combat phase after this phase. So you just get more combat, do more damage, and maybe you'll kill them. Utvara Hellkite. 6 double red, 8 mana total for a 6/6 flying dragon. Whenever a dragon you control attacks, create a 6/6 red dragon creature token with flying. So basically, you attack, you get a dragon. That's for every dragon attacking. So you attack with 5 dragons, get 5 more dragons. Just double up your army. Always good to have. Savage Ventmaw, 4, a green, and a red. For a 4/4 flying dragon, whenever it attacks, you get 3 red and 3 green mana in your mana pool. And until end of turn, this mana doesn't empty from your mana pool as steps and phases end. Never bad to have. Atarka, World Render. 5, a green and a black, 7 mana total for a 6/4 flying trample legendary dragon. Whenever a dragon you control attacks, it gains double strike until end turn. Just basically do more damage and you can get in for a lot doing that. Bladewing the Risen. This is an old card. I'm not going to lie to you. 3 double black, double red for a 4/4, so 7 mana for a 4/4 flying zombie dragon. Whenever it enters the battlefield, you may return target dragon permanent from your graveyard to the battlefield. That's fun. Just get you a dragon back. They kill your Atarka, get it back. Kill anything of your dragons, get it back. For a black and a red, dragon creatures get +1/+1 until end of turn. It's notable that this is dragon creatures, not just dragon creatures you control. So if your opponent's playing a dragon deck and you activate this, their dragons get +1/+1 as well. Kolaghan, the Storm's Fury. 5 red and a black for a 4/5 flying legendary dragon. Whenever a dragon you control attacks, creatures you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. Also has dash for the same as its mana cost. So you just play it, attack, and when combat's over, it just goes back to your hand. Ojutai, Soul of Winter. Ah, man, my hand is shaking for some reason. 5, a white and a blue for a 5/6 flying vigilance legendary dragon. Whenever a dragon you control attacks, tap target non-land permanent and opponent controls. That permanent doesn't untap until its controller's next untap step. This is really good to tap down your opponent's army unless they're playing a token deck, then in which case, good luck. We have to deal with tokens instead, we have Silumgar, the Drifting Death. 4, a blue and a black for a 3/7 flying hexproof legendary dragon. Whenever dragon you control attacks, creatures defending player controls get -1/-1 until end of turn. So against token decks, you attack with a couple dragons, just kill their entire board of Silumgars out. It's very fun to do. Spellbound Dragon. It's a 3, a blue and a red for a 3/5 flying dragon creature. Whenever it attacks, draw a card, then discard a card, and it gets +X/+0 until end of turn, where X is the discarded card's converted mana cost. So it just gets really big and can hit for a lot of damage out of nowhere. It's very fun. Oh, one of my favorite dragons. Dromoka the Eternal. 3, a green and a white for a 5/5 legendary flying dragon. That rate is probably some of the best rate in the deck for power and toughness equal to mana cost. Oh, sorry. I'm running low on breath. So whenever Dromoka the Eternal, or whenever a dragon you control attacks, bolster 2. So you choose a creature card, or a creature with the least toughness among creatures you control, and put a +1/+1 counter on it. Or 2 +1/+1 counters on it, sorry. So it basically can boost your entire army's toughness, power, whatever you need. It's a great card. This is a very fun dragon as well. Vaevictis Asmadi the Dire. 3 in gems, so black, red, green, for a 6/6 flying legendary elder dragon. Whenever Vaevictis Asmadi the Dire attacks, for each player, choose target permanent that player controls. Those players sacrifice those permanents. Each player who sacrificed a permanent this way reveals the top card of their library and puts it onto the battlefield if it's a permanent card. Basically, you choose something that's not a land for them to sacrifice, and for each opponent that sacrificed this, even yourself. Yeah, you can even choose one from yourself, like one of your lands that you don't need, or an extra artifact that you don't need, and then get something off the top. It could be a dragon. It's really just a guesswork. It's a very fun commander. Wasitora, Nekoru Queen. 2 in Jones of 5 mana for a 5/4 flying trample legendary cat dragon. It is a cat dragon. That is awesome. Whenever she attacks, whenever she deals combat damage to a player, that player sacrifices a creature. If that player can't, you get a 3/3 black, red, and green cat dragon creature token with flying. So you deal damage to an opponent, they sack a creature. If you can't, you get a cat dragon. So it counts as a dragon, so that's always fun. Darigaaz Reincarnated. 4 in Jund for a 7/7 flying trample haste. If it would die, instead exile it with 3 egg counters on it. At the beginning of your upkeep, if he isn't exiled, with an egg counter on him, remove an egg counter from it. Then if he has no egg counters on him, return to the battlefield. Basically, if he were to die, instead you send him to exile with 3 counters on him. On every one of your upkeeps, you take a counter away. Then when there are no counters left, he comes back. It's very fun, very hard to kill on a normal basis. Crosis the Purger. He's a 6/3 in Grixis, so blue, black, red, for a 6/6 flying dragon creature. Whenever he deals damage to a player, you may pay 2 in a black. If you do, choose a color, and then that player reveals their hand and discards all cards of that color. So I deal damage to you, and I pay that 3. And then I can... What's the word I want? Choose a color, and then you reveal your hands, and any card that has that color, you get rid of. It's really good against monocolor decks. That's where it shines. Next is Intet the Dreamer. 3 in Teamer, so blue, red, green, for a flying legendary 6/6 dragon. Whenever you deal combat damage to a player, you may pay 2 in a blue. If you do, exile the top card of your library face down. You may look at that card for as long as it remains exiled. You may play that card without paying its mana cost for as long as Intet remains on the battlefield. Yeah, so it just gets you a card, and whenever you deal damage, you pay the 3, and then you can cast the card, or say player cast. Play the card, so if it's a land, you can play that as a land too. Oh man, we're almost done with the dragons. We only have 2 more left. Oh, this is sad. Teneb the Harvester. 3 black, green, white. I don't know what that coloring is called. For a 6/6 flying dragon like the past 2. Whenever he deals damage to a player, you may pay 2 in a black. If you do, put target creature card from your graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. So basically, I hit someone for 6, pay that. Any creature card in any graveyard, I can get. It's a very fun card. Very good in dragon decks, but you really won't see him as a commander of a dragon deck, because most dragons actually have red in them. Since he doesn't have red, you really can't work with it. I'm going to readjust myself. Scion of the Ur-Dragon. Wooburg, so white, blue, black, red, green, for a legendary avatar, or dragon avatar. He's a 4/4 flyer. You can pay 2 and search your library for a dragon permanent card. Put it into your graveyard. If you do, Scion of the Ur-Dragon becomes a copy of that card until end of turn. Then shuffle your library. So I have Mount, I go search for any one of these dragons I want. He becomes that dragon until end of turn. Great. He can also be the commander of the deck. He's the alternate commander I was talking about. You can have whichever one you want. I like both. I've played with Scion before. Well, mostly played with Scion, but the few times I've played with Ur-Dragon as a commander, I've had more fun. Scion is the better commander of this build, but if you... none of this build. What's the wording? Scion's a better commander of a dragon deck than the Ur-Dragon, just because you can kill with commander damage. That's about it. I prefer the Ur-Dragon. That's actually all the dragons in the deck. It's a lot less than most people run. Normal people run like 40. I run 24 dragons if you count the commander. It's not a lot of dragons, to be honest with you. Probably should put more in here, but you don't need more. Next, Soul Ring. Because Soul Ring, it's just a 1 mana tap, get 2 mana. Wafer's Bauble. So if you haven't heard of this card, I don't know how, if you're a commander player, pay 1, play it. 2, you go get a basic land from your deck, and it's yours. So this is our mana ramp part of the episode, not the episode, of the video. Dragon's Horde. Okay, this is a newer card. So it's 3 mana for an artifact that you can tap for a mana of any color. It's basically mana lift. But whenever a dragon enters the battlefield of your control, you put a gold counter on him. Tap him, remove a gold counter, get a card from your deck, or just draw a card. Darksteel Ignite is similar. It's a 3 mana, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool, but it's indestructible, so you can't really destroy it. Dreamstone Hedron. 6 mana for an artifact, tap to add 3 mana, or pay 3, tap it, and draw 3 cards, after you sack it, of course. Commander Sphere. 3 mana, tap to add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool, or you can sacrifice it and draw a card. Armillary Sphere. So it's 2 mana for an artifact, pay 2, tap it, sacrifice it, search your library for 2 basic lands, reveal them, and put them into your hand, then shuffle your library. All of this either gives us mana, or we'll go get lands out of our deck that we need, because our commander is 9 mana, so casting him is difficult. And if you use Scion as the commander, he's all 5 colors, so this mana base also is designed to give you all 5 of your colors as fast as possible. I'm ready to get there. Gilded Lotus. This got reprinted in Dominaria, so its price has gone down a little bit, especially the Dominaria one. 5 mana for an artifact. Tap, add 3 mana of any 1 color to your mana pool. You get 3 mana. That's very good. Solemn Simulacrum. 4 cost artifact creature golem. It's a 2/2, and whenever it enters the battlefield, search your library for a basic land card and put it onto the battlefield tapped. And whenever it dies, you draw a card. Or you may. You don't have to draw a card, but you could. And most people will. Kodama's Reach. 2 and a green for a 3/3 sorcery. When you cast it, you search your library for 2 basic lands, reveal the cards, put 1 onto the battlefield and 1 into your hand. Farseek. 1 and a green for a sorcery. Search your library for a plains, island, swamp, or mountain card, and put it onto the battlefield tapped. Then shuffle your library. Goes get you a land, put it on the battlefield. Cultivate. 2 and a green for a sorcery. Search your library for 2 basic lands, reveal those cards, put 1 onto your hand and 1 onto the battlefield tapped. More lands. Frontier Siege. So it's 3 and a green for an enchantment. Whenever it enters the battlefield, you choose either Khans or Dragons. Khans gives you 2 green mana on each of your main phases. It's very good. Very good. Dragons is whenever a creature with flying enters the battlefield under your control, you may have it fight target creature you don't control. That's also very good. Very, very good. You can kill things or you can get mana. It's your choice. The Infinity Gauntlet, Fist of Suns. 3 mana artifact, you may pay Wooburg instead of pay the mana cost for spells that you cast. So instead of paying 9 mana on the Ur-Dragon, you can pay 5 mana. Herald's Horn. A 3-cost artifact, when it enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Creature type, or creature spells of the chosen type you cast cost 1 less to cast. At the beginning of your upkeep, look at the top card of your library. If it's a creature card, of the creature of the chosen type, you may reveal it and put it into your hand. So we're on to mana reduction. Dragonspeaker Shaman. This is a really old. This version's not old. This version's like a year old, but the original is really old. 1 and 2 reds, so 3 mana for a 2/2 human barbarian shaman. Dragon spells you cast cost 2 less to cast. It's very good. Joda, Archmage Eternal. Probably one of the better 5-color commanders like ever printed. He's a human wizard 4/3 for 4 mana, 1 in Jeskai, so blue, red, and white. You may pay Wooburg, then pay the mana cost of spells you cast. It's Fist of Suns on a creature. Dragonlord Servant. 1 in a red for a 1/3 when dragon spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Very good. Very good. That's about it for mana ramp and mana reduction. How many of those do we have? 5 mana reduction. And 13 mana ramp, which is all very good. Next is our haste granters. Lightning Greaves, 2 mana for an equipment. Equip 0, so it costs 0 mana to equip it to a creature. Equipped creature has haste and shroud. I'm not going to do a lot of explaining of what certain keywords are, just because I don't have time. And that would probably be a separate video if too many, not too many, if a lot of new players comment asking what stuff means. Swiftfoot Boots, a 2-cost equipment, just like the Lightning Greaves, but it costs 1 to equip and it gives hexproof and haste. They're similar yet different. Dragon Tempest, 1 in a red for an enchantment. Whenever a creature with flying enters the battlefield under control, it gains haste until end of turn. Whenever a dragon enters the battlefield under control, it deals X damage to target creature or playing, where X is the number of dragons you control. So it's basically Scourge of Valkas. This is a enchantment. Crucible of Fire, 3 in a red for an enchantment. Dragon creatures you control get +3/+3. Buffs your dragons, make him a 13/13. You're a dragon. 13/13. Oh, I dropped a card. No. These next 2 cards will increase the amount of damage you can do with your dragons. Gisela, Blade of Gold Knight. 4 a black and double white for a 5/5 flying first strike angel, not a dragon. If a source would deal damage to an opponent or a permanent that opponent controls, it deals double damage. If a source would deal damage to you or a permanent you control, it deals half that much damage. Very good. Unfortunately, she's not a good commander because Boros doesn't have a lot of mana ramp and card draw, but she's definitely good in decks with those colors. Sylvia Brightspear, 2 in a white for a 2/2 human knight. Has partner with another dragon, but we don't run it, so it doesn't matter. Has a double strike. Dragons your team control have double strike. All my dragons double strike when she's out. And this is not in that category, it's just a utility creature. Atali Primal Storm, 4 double red for a 6/6 Elder Dinosaur. Whenever he attacks, exile the top card of each player's library. You may cast any number of non-land cards exiled this way without paying their mana cost. Good card advantage. Next is either protection or card. We're in a card draw category, but a few of these spells can be used for different reasons. Monastery Siege, 2 in a blue for an enchantment. Choose when it enters the battlefield, choose Cons or Dragons. Cons: at the beginning of your draw step, draw an additional card, then discard a card. Dragons: spells your opponent cast that target you or a permanent you control cost 2 more to cast. Most of the time you choose the bottom, but if you're in a tight spot, choosing the top will not be bad. Painful Truce, 2 in a black with for a sorcery with Converge. You draw X cards and lose X life, where X is the number of colors of mana spent to cast this spell. Really good, can draw you up to 3 cards. If you have Joda out, it can draw you up to 5. Tezzeret's Gambit, 3 in a Phyrexian blue, so it can either be paid with a blue mana or 2 life. Draw 2 cards, then proliferate. We don't have anything worth proliferating in this deck, so we don't really care about that. We get to draw 2 cards for 3 mana. It's very good. Manifold Insights. 2 and a blue for a sorcerer. Reveal the top 10 cards of your library. Top 10 cards. Starting with the next opponent in turn order, so whoever's turn is next, they start. Each opponent chooses a non-land card from among them, put the chosen cards into your hand and the rest in your bottom of your library in any order. Any order. You get to draw cards of your opponent's choice, equal to the amount of opponents you have. Non-land cards, of course. Our next category is board wipes, and one of our board wipes is on a dragon. Deathbringer Regent. 5 and double black. 7 mana for a 5/6. When it enters the battlefield, if you cast it from your hand, and there are 5 or more other creatures on the battlefield, destroy all other creatures. So just a board wipe, and then you have a dragon left. You really don't want to cast it unless you are board wiping. Dune Blast. 4, a white, black, and green. 7 mana. Choose up to 1 target creature. Destroy the rest. So you choose a creature, and then every other creature dies. If this is out, you choose him. This can sometimes be a one-sided board wipe, this next card. Crux of Fate. 3 and double black for a sorcery. Choose one. Either destroy all dragons, or destroy all non-dragons. It's really up to you. Merciless Eviction. 4, a white and a black. So 6 mana. Choose for a sorcery. Choose one. Exile all artifacts, all creatures, all enchantments, or all planeswalkers. So it's very versatile, hits a lot of different things. It's very good against artifact or enchantment decks. Living Death. 3, double black for a sorcery. Each player exiles all creature cards from their graveyard and then sacrifices all creatures they control, then puts all cards exiled this way onto the battlefield. That's confusing, so let's explain it in a normal way. Basically, for 5 mana, you get rid of all creature cards in your graveyard. Then you kill all the creatures on the battlefield die. And then all the cards that left your graveyard go onto the battlefield under your control. That's the simplest way I know how to put it. Next is single target removal. Putrefy. 1, a black and a green. 3 mana total. Destroy target artifact or creature. It cannot be regenerated. So you just kill things. That's always fun. Mortify. 3, a white and a black for an instant. I like this already. Destroy target creature or enchantment. So, during your opponent's turn, you can kill their thing. This next one's a little confusing if you're a new player. Chaos Warp. 2 and a red for an instant. The owner of target permanent shuffles it into his or her library and then reveals the top card of his or her library. If it's a permanent card, he or she puts it onto the battlefield. Basically, you choose something, like I'll choose Scion if my opponent has one. They shuffle it into their deck and then reveal the top card of the deck. If it's a permanent, so a land, enchantment, artifact, or creature, or planeswalker, it goes into the battlefield under their control. So the next is the mana base, which is a little weird and budgety. The way I run it is very budgety, but it works. So you do run 10 fetch lands in this deck, just not the ones you're used to seeing. Most people like the fast fetches that, go get you stuff, but they cost at instant. Basically, pay a life, you go get any card of a certain type out of your deck. They're expensive though. The cheapest one's 20, but the most expensive goes up to 80. Personally, I like these. They're like $3 a piece. They're the slow fetches. They do the same thing, but you don't have to pay a life, and they enter the battlefield tapped. So turn 1, you enters tapped, untaps on turn 2, and then you do the thing that you would do with a normal fetch land. I like them just because they're budget options. They've recently gone down in price, I believe, just because they got reprinted in Commander 2018. So get them while they're not $3. And then 5 more fetches, 4 of which are the Panoramas. So you have Bant, Jund, Esper, and Grixis Panorama. They tap for a colorless mana, or you can pay 1 and tap and sacrifice it. go get a basic of whatever of the shard it's in, and a basic of the colors in the shard, and then you go get and it goes on the battlefield tapped. It's very good. There's one more fetch in deck. It's a very popular one, I think. Crosis Verge. Enters the battlefield tapped. Tap, add 1 colorless mana to your mana pool. 2, sacrifice it, search your library for a forest and a plains, and then put them onto the battlefield tapped. Then shuffle your library. So you don't always have to go get basics, like with the slow fetches and with Crosis Verge. You can go get one of these 5. Most people play the shock lands, but those are expensive right now. But they're getting reprinted in guilds of Ravnica and the next set, so they will go down. Right now, personally, I run the 5 Zendikar have lands, which need you to have 2 or more basics. But they have the land types, so you can go fetch them out. Like if it says go get a swamp or a mountain card, you get a swamp for this, or a mountain, and then a mountain or a forest for this. It's very good, very, very good. The next 10 are what make it budget. It's what I run instead of shock lands. Okay, I don't have all 10. That sucks. So I run the check lands, like Dragon Skull Summit here. They come into play tapped unless you control one of the 2 land types in their colors. Dragon Skull Summit, Drowned Catacomb, Rootbound Crag, Hinterland Harbor, Isolated Chapel, Sulphur Falls, Woodland Cemetery. Now this one is just a Tranquil Expanse. I don't own a Sun Petal Grove yet. I have to go get one. Glacial Fortress and Clifftop Retreat. Just help you get... They can come into play untapped. So that's always nice. I'm trying to rush this last part because we've been going on for half an hour. There are 4 utility lands in the deck. And since we're in a tribal deck, we run Path to Ancestry. Comes into play tapped, add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity to your mana pool. And then if it's a creature card, if you use that mana to cast a creature card that shares a type, you scry one. It's nice. Haven of the Spirit Dragon. You can either add a colorless, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool, and you can only spend dragon. You can only cast dragons with this mana. 2 in a tap, and you sacrifice it, go get a dragon card or Ugin Planeswalker from your graveyard to your hand. Command Tower, because Command Tower. Cascading Cataracts. It's an indestructible land. Add a colorless to your mana pool, or pay 5, tap, add 5 mana of any combination to your mana pool. And then basics. We just run 2